Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tammy Davis. If you don't know me or are unfamiliar with me, I've been doing a lot of videos around brain health and not saying much about oils. And so I decided that I would actually talk a little bit today about there's two different ways you can use oils. And just to kind of let you know that I'm really going to dial it back when it comes to, I've been doing this, but I just want to be clear. If this is your first time and you've come here because you want to hear me talk about essential oils, you won't. Not to the degree that you're looking for. There's plenty of information out there that shares properties about the specific oils, how they work with different conditions, and so forth. I don't operate like that, and based on 15 plus years of extensive investigation of plant constituents, that is my specialty, plant constituents as it relates to drug development and human physiology and DNA. I can no longer get behind the generalized use of essential oils, simply because the if you've seen any of the recent videos, I talk a lot about how nature communicates with chemicals, and I've talked about that even historically in other videos. And it's a fact. And essential oils are, regardless of their quality, are made up of chemicals, just like your household cleaners. These are chemicals. Some chemicals are natural, other ones are man-made. If you are using a genuine and authentic oil, or sometimes referred to as true essential oil, pure essential oil, if you're using anything with those level of qualifications, then you're pretty much guaranteed that the constituents you have are naturally occurring. There's a lot of adulteration going on with oils. I'm writing about that in my one book on oils and sleep, although that's kind of evolving into something bigger. But the fact is that these oils are increasingly adulterated, which brings down the cost to you. So it makes it more appealing to you. This is a growing market. But that said, it is time to, in my world, it's time for me to buckle down and just not talk about them to the degree where I start making random suggestions, again, based on what I'm about to share here. So, beginning with that, the first way to use oils is if you take medications, which there's a good percentage of people in the United States that take medications. I don't know the statistics for other countries, but pharmaceuticals are widely used, as we know. We have over 78 million people alone in this country currently taking at least one psychiatric medication. That right there is, again, a big number, and the age range for this is 1 to 65 plus. So it's a lot of people. And I can tell you straight up that all of those types of medications affect at least one liver enzyme, if not more than one. Again, it depends on the medication and what the intention of that medication is. But essential oils also, the constituents specifically impact various liver enzymes. And just to use a psychiatric medication already eliminates a good handful of oils. Now, the thing is that I've talked about this is, it can lead to adverse reactions. Adverse reactions would be considered something like, well, like get a rash, you get nausea, headache, so forth. That's our common relationship to an adverse reaction. Other adverse reactions would be an increase in side effects. So let's just say you take something that's calming and soothing to the body, and you use an oil that it's active on the same liver enzyme as that medication, or the combination could increase it it could increase the effect of the drug. Because the thing is that what liver enzymes are for is they actually regulate the breakdown and elimination of chemicals. And this happens with every chemical. This isn't just man-made chemicals. This is the way the body operates. It's an amazing process. I mean, a good example is caffeine. When we consume something with caffeine in it, caffeine must be broken down into a number of chemicals that are further used, xanthine and theophylline being two of them. Oftentimes the body uses them. I mean, that accentuates or supports respiration. Further breakdown of those chemicals becomes eliminated by the body. This is the role of liver enzymes. Scientists understand this, and they learn this based on the way they study plant constituents. And a number of plant constituents will be inhibitors, they'll be substrates, they'll be inducers. It just really depends. I can tell you right now that CBD is a major inhibitor, so we need to be careful with using that with medications. Combining it. I realize that there's pretty much no professional telling you that, but it's a fact. CBD is a big inhibitor of a number of liver enzymes, and to combine it with anything, especially psychiatric medications, is a bit dangerous. One other side effect that you don't normally talk about is something that it could be years down the line before you ever notice it, because the epigenome is designed to adapt. Therefore, we could be combining things that create adjustments to the epigenome, but there are no immediate. We don't notice it immediately. It could be a year out. It could be 5 years out. It could be 10 years out, and then the next thing you know, it's all related. That's the thing, is it's all related. When we get sick, when we end up having our adverse reactions, it doesn't necessarily mean it had to be right this moment. So learning how to combine these things is absolutely necessary. So that's called palliative care. Some people, in some worlds, that's, integrative health. I like the idea of palliative because it becomes a complement. It's not something that takes the place of medications, but it supports the body in a way so that the medications actually continue to do their job. Because once you reach the point of requiring medication, in a general sense, your body is beyond the point of just restoring it with natural remedies. I mean, again, that's the kind of a broad statement for me to make, because in some cases, the medication may not even be warranted. So, meaning that the symptoms may not be extensive enough, but we just choose to take the medication anyway in order to protect ourselves. And if that's the case, then that's fine. Just continue to use oils in a way that do not duplicate the mechanism of action, meaning they don't, if you're taking medications, say for depression, you don't want to use oils for depression. You want to use them in another way. And what I would recommend for that really depends on the individual, depends on the combination of medications, if there's more than one, depends on a lot of things, their lifestyle choices, their emotional health. All of that helps me determine which oils to suggest. So that said, stability, we would want to introduce oils that offer stability and in turn really support the digestive system. The second way I recommend using oils is if you don't take medications and you take a minimal amount of supplements. Primarily, I would recommend, or I would prefer, that you actually be using what I would call whole food supplements, like using maca or using ashwagandha, or, nothing that has additives or anything. It's not mixed with anything else. It's just a single ingredient is how I want to say that. When you start taking it in supplement form, where oftentimes even the vitamins and minerals oftentimes have emulsifiers added to them and other components that increase assimilation. Now that's an understandable move, because if the body is distressed and taxed, which we all are, and that has nothing to do with the current culture, climate of our culture with regards to, the coronavirus or the recent riots and protesting. I'm talking beyond that. I'm just talking aside from all of that. The just the amount of environmental toxins that we're putting out there on a regular basis. And again, go back and watch my other videos about namaste and so forth, and why it's even kind, kind just to listen, because there's a chemistry to our existences, because as we are a part of nature, and that chemistry increases activity at the autonomic nervous system, and depending again on how the epigenome has adjusted to you, your psychology, and your lifestyle, will determine the level of distress in your system. But that said, it makes sense to have these additives or components put into these supplements, because it does benefit us if we are stressed, physiology physically, just going to go for physically. It's another reason why quieting the mind and breathing is exceptionally important. I mean, literally just stop thinking, and paying attention to how we feel, the sensations. Are we feeling anxious? Are we feeling agitated? Are we feeling restless? All of those sensations are indicators that your mind is racing, because I think a lot of us have gotten quite good at not even hearing the thoughts in our head. So that level of when we start to feel that way, it's good for us to check in with ourselves and find out, well, what's going on? Why do I, what am I feeling this way for? You might begin to identify some thoughts that are occurring, and just remind yourself that it's not serving you right now. Find ways to get yourself back to center. This is one method for really beginning to relieve that stress response, that and remembering to exhale. But this is significant. And again, this is the reason why a lot of our supplements have components added to them in order to increase uptake. Pardon me. So that said, if you take a lot of supplements, then you probably would want to be cautious with the oils that you choose. Again, because of adverse reactions, because there's no telling what these components are. I mean, there is a way, and you just want to make sure. Again, I would recommend a consult, simply because if it's more than just a vitamin and a mineral, and there's a deliberate purpose in this nutraceutical, like methylation accelerators, one that I'm familiar with. I mean, there's a lot of them that are based on epigenetics and methylation, MTHFR, and so forth. Those level of nutraceuticals do not mix well with a lot of oils. I've unfortunately learned that firsthand when I was working out of a naturopath's office, and they were really, really, really promoting a lot of these nutraceuticals, and they were trying to combine them with oils, and we were having adverse reactions out the wazoo. And I kept insisting to this clinician that we needed to collaborate more. I needed to be able to understand what this person was doing. We needed to talk about this and decide if they needed. And he was all about just push it. He was pushing nutraceuticals, and I walked away. Absolutely walked away, because I couldn't put people through that. And the reason for that is because oils, they begin to stabilize the system, and they will accentuate the uptake of nutrients. So if you combine oils with food, this is the reason why whenever I work with somebody, I generally make a lot of whole food suggestions for nutrient purposes, and use and recommend or combine them with oils, because the two work together. Because the oils, as I said, they do support both the breakdown of macronutrients and the assimilation of the micronutrients, as well as the metabolites of the macronutrients. So that's the second way you would want to use them is I would use more than you would if you were taking medication. But again, minimally, kind of minimize it again if you're using any nutraceuticals. Let's see what else there is. I also advocate for if you are not familiar with oils or you're not accustomed to using them on your skin, then you at the very least want to put down a carrier. And if you're interested in types of carriers and how they work efficiently, I can certainly send that document to you. Just message me or send me an email at tammy@synergessence.com. That link's in the box below. But that said, I would recommend using the oils straight. So if you're going to be making a blend, and I'm going to say a little bit more about blends here in a minute, but if you're going to be, combining, 2 or 3 oils, combine them first. You can use equal amounts of each. The number of drops isn't as important as just getting them combined. Putting some carrier down on the skin first. Do not mix the oils in the carrier. The reason for that is I want you to get as much of that oil in your system as possible. When we start cutting it with carrier, we actually get less of the oil because we're cutting it in half or even more so. So carrier on the skin, 5 or 6 drops in the skin at one time, and you can do this several times a day depending on what you're dealing with. Again, if you have questions or are interested in a consult, please visit synergessence.com and sign up for something like that, for a consult there. As far as pre-made blends are concerned, I really just don't recommend them at all for anybody. And I apologize to anybody who represents a company that sells pre-made blends. The challenge with those is that they can use a lot of oils that do not mix with medications. We are generalizing their benefits. We are promoting them on a large scale, and it's not advisable given the number of people that take medications. So the issues with the pre-made blends, number one, is that oftentimes they use oils in them that are directly influence very specific chemicals in the body, meaning different types of hormones or neurotransmitters, which is not recommended because it leads to more instability, and that may not be what this individual needs, and oftentimes this could create a problem. Again, any type of adverse reaction. And the other reason is because, well, they don't mix with medications. And just because something is good for one person doesn't make it good for another person. The epigenome is so diverse, it is as unique as our fingerprints. Therefore, it is a crucial step to be personalizing our use of oils. This is another reason why I will not be talking about them in a generalized sense and making recommendations as I have in the past. So if you see something, I'm not going to take anything down, but if you see something I've recorded before and you have questions about it, by all means, let me know. This is a huge step in the use of essential oils, but I think it's a necessary step because this industry continues to grow. And I'm excited about that because we stand to benefit greatly by the inclusion of oils. All right. You guys take care. Thank you very much for watching, and I will still have a little rosy cheeks. I just got done from working out, so that's what that is. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will talk to you later.